Hello, this is Sharon Jones of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. And when I need a dose of real news and real music, I listen to WMNF Tampa, WMNF.org.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Good morning and salutations to you, my witty and cultured friend out there in the magic of Radio Land. You who religiously set your radio dial tuned to WMNF Tampa, your resistance radio station from Tampa Bay to the Gulf of Mexico, and the only discerning little radio station that RAT Fink would ever trouble himself to stream. And you can stream us as well at WMNF.org. Today I invite you to this challenge, my good friend. This is Ask Me Anything Monday, and it depends on your questions, comments, and concerns. So let's keep my favorite phone commander, Maddie, busy this morning. Just give us a call at 813-239-9663. Get your pencil ready because that number again is 813-239-9663. You can send an email to dj@wmnf.org or text us at 813-433-0885. Good morning to you, Dr. Harvey. I can barely contain myself. Today is Ask Me Anything Monday. So let's just jump right on in, okay? What's new in the medical advice world today, Dr. Harvey?
Well, there's all kinds of new stuff, Bill. Hope your weekend was great. Mine was.
It certainly was. Had a friend come on in and visit me from 30 years ago and all the way from Seattle. So enjoyed it and enjoying the weather.
That kind of reunion's always wonderful. That's great. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in the news. I think the first couple minutes of this show might actually evolve into updates on MAHA. Make Americans Hurt Always, that new slogan for the administration of numbskullery and tomfoolery that they used to call the Department of Health and Human Services. It's been taken over by a man who has no medical knowledge, no medical experience, no medical training, and is an attorney hell-bent on destroying the American public health system. It's really pretty amazing. I opened up the news over the weekend and read one of my favorite magazines, The Atlantic. The headline, it's official. Vaccines don't not cause autism. Yeah, I said that. Vaccines don't not cause autism, because the CDC has actually published the surprise update on its website, and they say that studies have not ruled out the possibility that vaccines cause autism. I think that's actually really great, because what RFK really wants to say is that vaccines do cause autism. But they're sidestepping around it and, playing games with bureaucratic mumbo jumbo. But, Steely Dan had a song called Pretzel Logic, and I think this is kind of tied up like that. But, it really goes much deeper, because just the assertion that vaccines don't not cause autism is kind of odd. But the evidence is very limited on a causal link. There's a lot of circumstantial stuff out there, but the argument that these preservatives like thimerosal, the mercury in the vaccines causes the problem, well, that was mostly removed from the vaccines, and Denmark did a study, and it took the preservative out of its shots in 1992, but they still had a 5-fold increase in autism diagnoses. And so obviously it wasn't related to the thimerosal, the mercury in the vaccines, at least in Denmark. But many of us functional medicine doctors believe that it's just an overall increase in toxicity in general. And that ties into the rest of the idiocy that's going on in the Department of Health and Human Services across the board. It's crazy. They just took the black box warning off of HRT for menopausal women, hormone replacement therapy, using estrogens and progesterones. And RFK made a statement that you could increase the lifespan of a woman by 10 years. No. Again, he's spouting lies and ridiculous hyperbole. There is no evidence of increased lifespan. Unless, wait, I have to give it to him. There's one study from many years ago that suggests that there might be a 0.39 to 0.79, that's 40% of a year or 80% of a year increase in lifespan. You get between, think about this, you get between 4 months or 5 months and 10 months, 10 months. I mean, really? This is the amount you get by starting HRT at menopause at like age 50. So it really doesn't affect your lifespan, but it can affect your health span. It can protect bones, it can protect brain, it can protect skin, hair, nails, all kinds of things. But it doesn't increase your lifespan. But it will potentially decrease your mortality. So if you started hormone therapy at under 60, you might have less chance of a heart attack or a stroke. But if you started over 60, there's no benefit in terms of mortality and or of lifespan. You will probably have a better perceived quality of life, which is a very good thing. I have no problem with using hormone replacement therapy for the right things. But we can't expect that we're going to live forever by taking hormones. And it's just really other layers of it. I think that one of the things we know about symptomatic premenstrual syndrome and menopausal syndromes is toxicity. And xenobiotics are these chemicals that screw around with human hormone metabolism and signaling. Things like pesticides, pesticides, and fragrances, Axe, and all those synthetic chemicals in the lovely cleaning agents. Fabuloso is far from fabulous. It is a poison in a bottle that pollutes atmospheres all around us. But, it's funny because RFK says that pesticides also are related to peanut allergy. But RFK is in charge of HHS. He's not in charge of the EPA. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, approved 2 forever chemicals in the past 2 weeks. PFAS, polyfluorinated alkyl substances. These pesticides, the first one 2 weeks ago, cyclobutyfluoram, yes, say that one 3 times fast. It breaks down into something else called trifluoroacetic acid, TFA. That's one of the longest lasting horrid poisons that lives in our soil after it's been utilized. TFA is in water everywhere because we've sprayed too much of this poison. But now they've approved this new one for golf courses, lawns, cotton fields, soybeans, and lettuce. So remember, unless your lettuce says organic, you're eating poison, specifically prescribed for you by the Environmental Protection Agency under the grifting organization called the Trump administration. But this isn't new to Trump. I mean, the other administrations have done this, and it's both administrations have allowed this to continue. Pesticides on lawns and golf courses should be banned right now because there's no purpose for them on lawns or on golf courses because those are not productive land. They're just sitting there. So if they get eaten by pests, who cares? Yeah, you heard me. I don't care. Let your lawn get eaten by the bugs because that's what it's designed for. Because lawns are fake. Let's think about this and stop poisoning our environment to keep lawns green. The second one that was actually done this week was isocycloseram. it breaks down into 40 different smaller PFAS that persist in the environment forever. And this one's associated with reduced testicular size, reduced sperm count, and liver toxicity. Also, it kills bees. 1 in every 3 mouthfuls of food that you put in your face is directly pollinated by a bee. And this is going to kill more bees. Are we really hell-bent on ending life on planet Earth? What is wrong with a society that wants to poison food in the field and then poison it again when they put it in the box to give it to people? It's weird, really weird. I'd like to hear some of your opinions about this weirdness, though. Can we talk about this? Does anybody want to talk about the fact that we are actually promoting poisoning of Americans? This is Fred Harvey, and we are on the Healthy Step Show, WMNF Tampa.
That is absolutely so true, and I am not beneath begging for people to give a call. Our boards are dark as night here. So I'm going to remind you, you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, and we're encouraging you to participate by calling 813-239-9663. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. Or you can continue to send your emails, as Peter Caller always does, to dj@wmnf.org. Well, it looks like that might have done something. Give me a minute there, Doc, and I'll have a couple of callers for you on the line. Back to you. You there, Doctor?
I am, and I just clicked it back on. Mr. Kennedy was interviewed about these subjects just the other day, and he acknowledged actually that there's about the studies that show no link between thimerosal mercury in the vaccines and autism. But even though he actually accepts that, they're undeterred about it. They really are completely full tilt going forward with an anti-thimerosal campaign. Like, what is it that is the agenda here? Considering that we already know that thimerosal doesn't cause autism, there's no connection. What are they really doing? Like, what are they trying to hide from us by having us look at this stuff that's already settled science? What are they doing behind the scenes? I think we have a caller.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we do. I've got Randy all the way from Maine on the line. Good morning to you there, Randy.
Good morning.
Hi, Randy.
Hey, I was just in for my recent VA physical. I'm 76, in good health, no meds, and my doctor's telling me that my cholesterol is high enough that I should consider statins, and he also would recommend that I stop taking fish oil. Wanted to see what your opinion was on that.
Well, the recommendation for taking a preventive statin is an interesting one. I think that it is a medication designed to treat a very specific thing, elevated cholesterol, or in one instance, rosuvastatin is indicated to treat an elevated C-reactive protein. But if you have no coronary artery disease evidence or history, and you have no other major risk factors like diabetes or high blood pressure, then unless your LDL is well over 130, you probably don't need to consider taking a medication.
My LDL is 143.
So you're right at that level. Like, it's recommended that somebody who has one that's over 160 should just get treated because it's going to be making your blood sticky. And so you're in this sort of gray zone. And the ways to actually help that go down without taking a statin would be to make sure that you get fiber with every meal. And that may even mean just taking a fiber tablet, like a psyllium tablet or capsule, konjac root. I use one called OptiFiber Lean. very well tolerated fiber, and helps you change the way you metabolize the lipids, the cholesterol, et cetera. And so it helps you deal with that. Another thing about the fish oil, there are some recent studies that showed that excessive fish oil was associated with other problems. I see this as an issue in that when they do these studies about a single nutrient, they don't take into account other things, like what is the antioxidant status of that individual? What is the actual omega-3, omega-6, omega-9 balance in that person? I think achieving balance is really good. But expecting that fish oil is going to cure a problem, and a lot of people think of nutritional supplements that way, replacing a medication with a nutritional supplement to, open quotes, treat, close quotes, a problem, is like, it's not real. You're not treating anything. You're supporting natural metabolism. So I look for balance, and I test the omega levels, and I don't tell people to take more omegas than they need to get to a balanced level. And so there is some caution about that, especially if you take fish oil, but you have a poor antioxidant status, and the fish oil goes rancid the moment you take it into your body. There's so many variables that I think it helps to have a good nutritionist guide you.
Okay. So my other numbers all seem to be good. Triglycerides 52. I'm very active. I mean, should I stop taking the fish oil? He wants to check me in 6 months and see if anything has changed.
Yeah, that's usually the methodology. Hey, let's check you in 6 months and see if you can develop a disease that I can treat.
Yes.
But in the meantime, what you could do is go to any lab test now and order yourself an omega index. It will give you your omega balance, and if you are actually within the, well, I prefer 8 to 12 range for the omega-3 index. That's brain health and anti-inflammatory health. If you're in that range, I think you're in a good place. You don't need to exceed that range. And I think to get to that range by eating some nice canned mackerel and canned wild salmon, which is high in omega and lower in price, I think it's a really great way to get it rather than taking fish oil capsules.
That's my preference, but I've been kind of taking fish oil for a number of years just for inflammation, and sort of going by your guidance that it can't.
I take it too. I take about 1 capsule a day because I try to eat my boneless, skinless mackerel in a can, and occasionally, once a month, I love the taste of tuna, so occasionally I have some of that, but I avoid it because of the mercury.
Mm-hmm. So I try to get a couple of cans of salmon into salmon spread every week, and eat fish a couple of times. Living on the coast of Maine, it's easier to consume fish.
Yeah, how about it? Watch out for the lobster rolls because lobsters are higher in mercury.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're bottom feeders and mercury sinks.
Oh, God, I didn't know that. I don't eat a lot of them, maybe half a dozen a year. So.
Yeah, so if you're eating the little ones, the little pounders, don't go for the 3-pounders because those are old and they concentrate the mercury.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Okay, I guess this gives me some information to work with. I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, you're welcome. And go get that omega check. It's so easy, and maximum is going to be $50.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome. Have a great week and nice holidays.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Randy. And yes, Randy called from Maine, and I want to remind folks you can listen to WMNF wherever you are by going to WMNF.org. I've got Tom a little bit closer in St. Pete. Good morning, Tom.
And Randy can send us some of those small lobsters from.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, been a while. Good to know that I've not been missing my mercury. Though I appreciate the heads up on that. Never even thought about it.
You're welcome.
But I was calling to explain to you why we are poisoning ourselves with these PFAS and all these other chemicals in our food. And,
yes.
Okay. So it's going to take me a minute here, but I know that you're aware of what fail-safe means. In science, fail-safe means you make things so that they cannot hurt you. We require everybody to. Well, at any rate, there's a whole bunch of things that we do. The way things are made to be fail safe, so that you don't. They have these ground fault interrupts on our electrical system, so that if a wire gets wet, it turns the circuit off, so it won't hurt you. There's all kinds of fail safes. Well, in America, we have a constitution that's fail safe for the innocent, and that fail safe has been. I hope I can say bastardized by for-profit companies, especially the chemical companies, have used this fail-safe process so that they become the defendants. If you want to make sure that chemicals are safe, you have to prove that there's something wrong with them. We do not have fail-safe when it comes to the pesticides and the fertilizers that are put on our food.
That's correct.
Fail unsafe.
Correct.
It has to be proven in a court of law that something can hurt you, and that happens.
Yeah, actually, Monsanto had a huge settlement or judgment against them for billions for causing lymphoma with its lovely chemical Roundup.
Exactly, but how long did that take?
10 years.
I think was that all? That's how long the lawsuit took.
That's how long the lawsuits took. Yeah.
Yeah, how long was Roundup out there before any of this? Way too long. It takes decades to prove that something can hurt you.
Yeah, let me take it one step further for you, Tom. The reason we have this system is that capitalism has usurped our government, and we are actually all slaves to the corporation or to the oligarch. That's who owns our country. The Republicans seem to be pretty well controlled by oligarchs, and the Democrats pretty well controlled by corporations. So whichever one is vying for the most of our money, it depends on which one's in power. But either way, both have helped poison us for the last 60 years.
And it's all because our system is made to protect the innocent, and that's being used against us, weaponized against us, so that they can poison for profit.
Corporations should be looked at as guilty before innocent, I think. And then they have to prove their innocence, because when it's all profit for any cause, for all reasons, then it's likely to be criminal.
I think that the FDA needs to incorporate fail-safe into food safety.
Well, it's the Financial Drug Administration that's owned by the pharmaceutical corporation. So until we buy it back.
I just heard a great story about after the storm. It's always cleaner and fresher and more beautiful. And we're in the middle of a storm right now.
Yep.
And after this storm passes, I'm hoping for a sunny day.
Yes.
And if this pendulum swings back in a good direction, we can change things for the better. And this is one of the things that we need to do as a civilization. The rest of the world is following in our. See, Monsanto's all over the world.
Exactly. So we, the people, just need to rebuild after the devastation of this administration and create a better America. Yes, we'll make it great again after the devastation.
Well, you got the choir here. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, Tom. Looks like we have no callers on the line at the moment.
That is so true and so sad, breaking my heart. So I want to remind folks, you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. And you are invited to participate by calling 813-239-9663. bring in your medical questions or concerns. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. I've got the dynamic duo in the phone booth today. I've got Sage and Maddie. You can also send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Back to you there, Doctor.
So here we have an email. This is from Mike in St. Pete. Doc, I always listen to your show. Thank you, Mike. How long do you think one should stay on Eliquis after an ablation with a CHAD score of 1? Okay. I think we're talking about atrial fibrillation here. The ablation is an invasive cardiac procedure where someone called an electrophysiologist fries some of the electrical wiring in the heart so that it stops doing funky rhythms like atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation has a risk of increased stroke because of clots that come from the irregular rhythm. And Eliquis is a blood thinner that is used to reduce the risk of those atrial fibrillation associated strokes. And the reduction is significant, like 95% less strokes in someone who is on a blood thinner with atrial fibrillation. So ablation is supposed to end the atrial fibrillation. And a CHAD score is CHAD is an acronym, and it basically it's CHADS actually, and it helps to estimate stroke risk. And you get more points for different things like congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, age, diabetes, or history of a previous stroke. And so the CHAD score of 1 indicates a relatively lower to intermediate risk. And so there's lower risk of having a stroke from the atrial fibrillation, but there's still risk. And so I wouldn't actually recommend how long you should stay on the Eliquis. I think that really is going to be something you discuss with your cardiologist because it's different for each person. I think it works much better that way, individualized, personalized care. So I think there is reduced need for it, but I wouldn't say you don't need to be on it. I think we do have some callers now.
Absolutely, we do. That last shout out with the phone number did a little bit of magic on our listeners. I've got Sarah, Nan, Kyle, and John. Good morning to you, Sarah.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. I want to ask a question. It was actually on my mind this past week with the announcement on the federal website about there's, whatever they said that, there's no way to not prove, or however they put the double negative that vaccines cause autism.
Right.
My question that I was thinking about was, why should I trust, let's just say, a vaccine manufacturer that ever thought when they designed, I assume it's the MMR, originally, let's say pre the 1992 when Denmark got rid of it, so whenever it was actually formulated, why would I trust any company that originally thought it was a good idea to put mercury in the human body?
Well, you might distrust all of allopathic medicine then. Shall we just give up on it? Because my colleagues in the 1930s used mercury internally to treat syphilis. I remember when I was a child, my grandfather used to put mercurochrome, this red liquid, on my open wounds after I got an abrasion. So medical science has actually used mercury for centuries. The Chinese emperors loved cinnabar. Cinnabar is red mercury, and cinnabar is used in Chinese herbal formulas. So Why would we trust them? Because we have a track record that they work. We also have a track record that the thimerosal actually does nothing as far as increasing your risk of autism. Now, the tiny dose may actually cause some other damage in the body. Some people don't have the ability to detox mercury, others do. My family has some good detox genes and we don't hold on to mercury. I had like 14 mercury fillings when I was a kid and I didn't retain mercury in my body. It could also be that I ate vegetables my whole life and did active detox constantly. But yeah, I would trust the 70-year or so history that we have so far with vaccines. They're safe. They work.
Okay. I'm not saying they're not. That was a question that occurred to me as a, just somebody thinking about this thing. I was like, well, whose bright idea was it to put mercury in the vaccine back, let's assume, in the 50s or 60s or 70s originally?
It was a brilliant scientist who thought that when you have a vaccine vial that has 10 doses in it, and you want to make sure that the doses aren't corrupted by bacterial growth over time, if you give them over a couple of days or a week, you have a preservative in there that keeps other things from growing. It was a great idea.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a great question, too, Sarah.
It was.
Let's go to Nan in St. Pete. Good morning, Nan.
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nan.
Okay, great. I can hear you, Dr. Harvey. Yeah, I called before. I'm a journalist that's been writing about farm workers and pesticides for years. And one of the things that most people don't realize when they say, pesticides are safe, otherwise the government wouldn't allow them. I have been out at Home Depot and been in the pesticide aisle or, just looking. And it's amazing to me how they allow these things on the shelves. And I've said to people out there, I say, well, this is poison and it could poison your kids and things like that. Yes, but it's better than them getting stung by a bee. Yes.
Oh, no. Getting stung by a bee is much better than having that poison in you.
I know. Believe me. But, I spoke to a friend of mine who sprays his lawn regularly. I said, that's not good for your dog. He goes, I don't care. Okay, fine.
Nice guy. Doesn't care about his pet. Jeez.
Up here, he says he doesn't believe it anyway. But there is this thought out there that people can use these things because the government allows them on the shelves. But what they don't understand is the fact that most of these poisons were developed as nerve gases and things like that in World War I, and they have continued using them. At the end of World War II, they had a whole lot of leftover supplies of some of these things, like DDT. They used to spray the soldiers down with DDT to keep lice and other varmints off of them.
Yeah.
And the
government, this is a government that approved nuclear weapons and nuclear energy. None of that's safe. So why do we trust our government for safety?
I know. But the thing is that at the end of World War II, there were a whole lot of supplies left over, and these big companies like Dow, et cetera, and others, they just went ahead and they said, well, look, these are great. We can use them on crops and things like that. And that's when they really became popular. And people don't understand.
Repurposing murder weapons.
Right. It's true. And like when I was a kid, I remember I grew up here in St. Pete. I haven't lived here all my life, but I'm back now. And when I was a kid, I remember a lot of kids on their bicycles used to go out and ride behind these trucks, the mosquito spray trucks. They used to go all around the neighborhood here, and they were spraying malathion out. There was a big cloud of malathion coming out of the back of those trucks. And kids I know used to ride their bicycles into the cloud. They thought it was fun. Now,
I ran behind the one in Pennsylvania. We had DDT trucks in central Pennsylvania.
You did that too.
Sure.
Well, I never did. My mother had introduced me to Rachel Carson very early. She was very prescient that way. And she would never let us go out there. She used to drag me and my brother in. Oh, I hear the mosquito truck coming. Quick, come in, close the door.
No,
You know?
my family wasn't that. My dad was a doctor, and he believed in better living through modern chemistry.
Yes. Many of them did, yes.
Yes.
So anyway, I mean, it's just like we have a long history, and since we're a capitalistic country and we allow these big corporations to do that, the big corporations have done everything to make it seem like, this is just a run in the park, you know? Like,
Yeah. It's like Tampa Electric dumped, 3,000 tons of mercury debris on Florida over 20 years, and they paid $1 million fine for $1 trillion worth of damage? Come on.
Oh, I know. I can't believe it. They're letting the phosphate industry down there. They want a new dump or something to put more stuff in. And
and they also Manatee County commissioners allowed them to drill down through the aquifer and deposit radioactive wastewater deeper than the aquifer. Like, that's not going to ever leak.
Oh yeah, really? I know. I mean, it's just appalling what money these things. You know, people just love to.
I'd just like to know how much did the bank accounts of the county commissioners go up after that? But Nan, thank you. Any other good things to talk about today?
Okay, yes. Well, just one thing. If you want to use a good fertilizer on any of your plants, fish emulsion is great.
Oh yeah, it's great. It stinks, but it's awesome.
It stinks. Just put your plants outside if you're using house plants. Just stick them outside and, water them. You can bring them back in an hour.
Worm tea is excellent, too.
What is?
Worm tea.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, worm tea, absolutely. Well, I'm into permaculture and biodynamic gardening. Good old Steiner, he was great about that. But Anyway, I'll let you get on to other people. I just think people ought to realize that these things on the shelves are, even though they say, there's no proof, there is.
There's a lot of proof. Just read.
There is. Yeah. All right. You have a good day. I appreciate the topic. Bye-bye.
You too, Nan. I think Nan's book is Florida Farm Workers in the 20th Century. She'll correct me, I'm sure.
I've got John on the line here. Good morning, John.
Oh, hi, Dr. Harvey. Thanks for taking my call. It's actually a follow-up call from last week. You had asked me to call back with my PSA results after I had elevated PSA results after a binge event on my birthday, Labor Day weekend. Anyhow, luckily, the PSA dropped almost in half on my latest report, down to 10.1, which was down from 18.9.
That is better. Still sounds like you have a problem there you need to deal with.
Yeah, I did have a problem. That was a sort of a binge event that I think I've...
No, but I mean, you still have a 10 PSA. I think you have a prostate problem that you need to deal with.
Right. Well, I've been addressing that for quite a while. I'm on a sort of a active surveillance for years now, and it's been mostly in the high single digits for the last 4 years. So I'm sort of just keeping an eye on it right now.
Very good. Have you looked at Dean Ornish's work on prostate cancer?
No, I haven't, but I will. And that's Dean Ornish?
Ornish. Yeah, he's the guy that wrote Reversing Heart Disease. He had proof of reversing heart disease with diet, meditation, and exercise. And then he did a follow-up, a different study, and showed that you can turn off all the signals, genetic signals of prostate cancer by doing diet, exercise, and meditation. And the diet is a vegan diet.
I will certainly look into that. And one other question: when I did get my lab results back, I did get a thyroid panel done, and I'm noticing that my thyroid TSH is out of range at 11. And I was wondering if there was any correlation.
Well, it just tells us that your pituitary is looking for more thyroid hormones. So what's inhibiting your thyroid? Not enough protein, not enough iodine, or some inflammatory condition.
Right. Well, it might be the inflammatory condition because I take iodine with kelp, and I have a very high protein diet. So I'd have to probably eliminate those two and possibly look at inflammation. Now, I don't know if the inflammation would be in the prostate or not, but when I had a digital exam, they didn't seem to find any enlarged prostate.
But you had an MRI of your prostate to find out if there's a tumor there?
I have, and there was no lesions.
Good. So it's probably prostatitis, chronic prostate inflammation, a free PSA test can assess the PSA and give you an idea if it's more likely inflammation or cancer.
This was the free PSA test that I did take.
And so the free PSA was a high level, so it showed you didn't have cancer, or was a low level?
No, it was a high level. It was a 10.1.
And that's the free.
So that was free in total.
No, free PSA is a calculation.
That was a 0.08.
So what percent is the number there? What is your free PSA percent? Because that's the number they do it by.
Yeah, it was not calculated.
Okay, that's the important one.
Okay, and then I don't know how to obtain that number from this particular result. Is there a formula?
Yeah, free PSA is the amount that's not bound. So if you have if you have a 0.8 free PSA and a total PSA of 10, then you have like about 8%.
Okay. And
that's pretty low. I think 22% is where you're looking at not likely cancer. 8% is looking more likely.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. I'm not looking at the
reference range.
Yeah, the lower the reference range, the worse the issue.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess is 0.8 would be a low rate then at that point.
Yeah. So you sound like your free PSA is pointing more towards cancer. So continued regular watchful waiting is actually really important, and intervening. Doing some vegetarian dieting and meditation and things like that could be really important.
Okay, and I'm just not sure how to address this thyroid issue. Whether I should be doing some sort of treatment or changing. I don't know if Dean Ornish goes into thyroid health in his studies. Something to be looked at. But thank you for taking my call. I do appreciate it greatly.
You're welcome. Have a good one, and good luck with that.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you, John, and thanks for giving us the follow-on up, and best wishes to you. And I'm going to remind folks, you are listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, and you are encouraged to give us a call with your medical questions and concerns at 813-239-9663. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. I've got Maddie and Sage answering the calls today, and I've got Jim from Riverview on the line. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Great, Jim. How are you?
I'm good. Doctor, I wanted to ask you something. I have a pain in my shoulder, something terrible, okay? And I kind of blaming it over about a month. I had a flu shot, and I had no trouble at all in the same shoulder. I went and got a COVID shot like a couple of weeks later, and it's been a month now. And I can hardly move my shoulder. I mean, the pain's in my bicep, my shoulder. I can't even bring, like, my arm across my chest without pain in that shoulder. It feels like somebody drove a nail right in my shoulder. And I'm wondering, is that connected somehow? Because I didn't have any of that problem until I did that COVID shot.
So whenever you get a shot like that, it induces inflammation, and that's part of the process that gets you immune. So you had a flu shot, and then a month later you had another shot. It could be that you just promoted a lot of inflammation in the area, and at the same time, maybe you had a little bit of tendonitis already there, and it flared up. But I think you probably have some tendonitis, and you may benefit from having a physical therapist look at it, a chiropractor, maybe an orthopedist, but I think somebody who can do some therapy for you right away, rather than seeing somebody and having you get a referral to some therapy, would be better. So right. A chiropractor who has a class 4 laser. Class 4 lasers help to reduce inflammation. That may be really useful to help you improve that shoulder. But I'd get an evaluation by somebody and see if there's maybe your rotator cuff is upset, and they can show you some specific exercises. But yeah, it's not unusual to have that happen.
Yeah, because the reason I blamed it on the COVID shot was because prior to that, I didn't have an issue. And I didn't have an issue with my flu shot. And I get a COVID and flu shot every year.
Yeah.
But I had the flu shot in my left shoulder. I was going to do the COVID in my right shoulder, but I have a sensor on for my diabetes. So they wouldn't do it in that shoulder. So they did it in the same shoulder as my flu shot. And then it didn't happen right away. It was about 4 days. It started getting really sore. It wasn't sore the first 2-3 days. Then it started getting sore, and now the pain is like enormous. And I do try to exercise it. Like I'll try to raise it above my head, circle it, things of that nature. But it's like it just won't go away.
Yeah. I think you deserve an evaluation.
All right, Doc. I just was wanting to make sure, it came from that COVID shot. I wasn't sure,
Well, it can be any shot. That's the thing. I think that you had 2 in the same shoulder. You have ongoing inflammation. And yeah, it's often a delay. Like it takes 4 days for the body to respond to the COVID shot and get the full inflammation stage, essentially.
Well, that makes sense. That's about when it started hurting. All right, Doc, I appreciate the info.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good morning there. I've got David on the line. Good morning, David. Well, you got to give me David back there. Well, let's get back. I'll give the show back to you there, Doctor.
Okay. We have some more emails to go over. Let's see. Joe in Dover suggests that, what really blows his mind is the fact that there are protests all over the United States addressing things in other countries. Yet when it comes to the pesticides and food additives, we don't seem to bother. It's really crazy that people are exposed every day and they're just consuming these products. If people would focus on the issues immediately affecting the health of Americans, there might be changes in policies concerning our food. In many countries, our food is banned. It's true. They don't want our poisoned product. And when you think about it, if they're going to put PFAS on soybeans and feed the soybeans to the cows, the entire beef and dairy industry is polluted with a PFAS pesticide. So everybody who's eating non-organic, non-pasture finished dairy and beef are eating these poisons and creating hormone disruption and cancers and heart disease and dementia and diabetes and obesity and whatever other degenerative illnesses you want. You're eating the poisons that are causing them. Greg is on the line, I think.
Indeed, I've got Greg on the line here. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
Hi there.
Hi, Dr. Harvey. Man, you are awesome. Thank you for all you do.
You're so welcome.
And happy Thanksgiving to you.
And to you, my friend.
My question is, which I'm in disagreement with my sister after the COVID shot, she claims she got the tinnitus, the ringing in her ear, which I have also, and I don't know if it was related to that or not. Is there any correlation?
Okay, I think tinnitus is a problem of toxicity and inflammation. And I believe you can get tinnitus from all kinds of insults. And so if she had an inflammatory insult from the COVID shot, which I still can't call a vaccine because it's actually gene therapy, not a vaccine. That's a completely different story. They should stop lying to us. But in the meantime, those COVID shots can induce inflammation enough that it could damage your otic nerve. So yes.
Okay, she's right. Okay, that's a possibility.
Yes, like there's no vaccine that causes autism. But if you take 10 vaccines in a kid that just had diarrhea from inappropriately prescribed amoxicillin for a viral cold, and you inject them with all this stuff, it's highly likely they're going to have an immune system triggering that may actually induce things that look like autism. But it's not causative. That's the issue. It's layers and layers of toxicity, and our medical system isn't designed to look at that, won't talk about it, can't talk about it, and will refuse to talk about it because it might interfere with profiteering. And so we're stuck with this whole bizarre, irresponsible, and completely erroneous scenario where we argue about single item causes for stuff. There are almost none because we live in biological soup.
Correct. Yes,
so,
I mean, I eat organic now, but for years I didn't.
Yeah.
And being a recovering alcoholic for 10 years,
congratulations on that, my friend.
Thank you. But a previous smoker and, did the pot and the cocaine, I really just, hurt my body. But, and I'm paying for it now. Now I've got the AFib. I had that, the nerve things, they cook those in my heart when they put it in the...
You had an ablation too.
Yeah,
I hear you, Greg. Well, hey, thank you for your input.
I'm doing pretty good because my primary, I've known her for 10 years. She's highly regarded at Tampa General. And
excellent.
She listens to me because I studied nutritional healing years ago, and she's not all for pushing the pill. Okay, let's do this. You do it by your diet. Like I'm losing weight right now.
That's excellent. You said something really important. That your doctor listens to you. I love that.
Oh, she's amazing. She really is. I don't know if I could say her name, if that's right or not, but it's Dr. Denise Edwards, and she runs the Women's Center now at Tampa General.
Excellent. I'm glad there's some good doctors out there.
Yes, and she's like, no, you don't need to see the specialist for that. Just, go home and do this. You know what to do. Get your willpower in gear and do it.
Exactly. Well, Dave, hey, Greg, thank you. I'm going to move on to some emails. We're closing down the show in these last minutes.
Have a blessed, happy holiday, sir. Thank you.
You as well.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Susan asks, she's a 63-year-old woman. What are the best things to take to help with energy and inflammation? I feel tired and sore. Sleeping is a problem. Well, there's an issue. If you don't get sleep, you're not going to reduce the inflammation. You're not going to increase the energy. So I would figure out what's going on with the sleep disorder there. Sleep disorders are really important. Sleep apnea is quite prevalent, and you don't even have to be overweight to have sleep apnea because inflammation in your nasopharynx, the air passageways, if that's inflamed, you actually can have sleep apnea. And so we can fix those things. Ears, nose, and throat doctors can help that, et cetera. But anyway, sleep is critical for recovering from tired soreness. And so get that addressed first because that may be really the answer. David, Mr. White Pet Bryant says, I was curious about my take on the feasibility and safety of turkeys for sale at Publix, Winn-Dixie, and other stores for 49 cents a pound. I would not consider eating those poor tortured birds. Think about what they've done in the last couple of months to ramp up production of these poor turkeys so they could just be slaughtered for white man's gratitude day. I just, no, I'm not eating a turkey. I didn't even order my $200 organic pasture-raised turkey because I don't see the ritual has meaning for me. And maybe we could figure out a different ritual for our future. I want to thank everybody for this great input this week. Great questions. Keep on asking, keep on seeking health. Take some healthy steps every day. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, all my listeners.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey, for another informative and rewarding Healthy Steps show. And thank you to all of our participants, listeners, and supporters. You all make this show exemplary. And Maddie, thank you for answering the phones and all that entails. This show would not have been possible without your assistance. You have been listening to the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Waiting for you like a dear friend is 5 minutes of NPR News, and then get ready for the Sustainable Living Show hosted today by Tanya Vidovic. Until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.